When your dog looks up at you, something happens in your brain that has nothing to do with training and nothing to do with obedience. It is a chemical event. When I dug into the bond between dogs and their owners, I found that mutual gaze, simply looking into each other's eyes, triggers a measurable oxytocin surge in both you and your dog. What I uncovered about the science on this will surprise you. If you want to understand what your dog is really telling you, you are in the right place. Dogs are the only non-human animals known to spontaneously seek out human eyes. And when I first dug into what that really means, I found it genuinely startling. Wolves, even wolves raised from birth by human families, do not do this. They look at your hands. They look at your body. They look away. But dogs? Dogs look at your face. They have been doing it for somewhere between 15,000 and 30,000 years, ever since the first wolves chose proximity to humans over the pack. What emerged from that long negotiation is something genuinely unusual in the animal kingdom. A species that uses eye contact not as a threat, not as a dominant signal, but as a social bridge. Your dog looks at you the way an infant looks at a caregiver, scanning for emotional information, checking for safety, seeking connection. And here is what I want you to notice the next time your dog makes eye contact with you. They pause. They wait. They are watching what you do next. Not because they are trained to, because they are reading you. That pause, that searching gaze, it is one of the most sophisticated cross-species communication signals on the planet. And when I looked into what happens next, I found that it starts a chain reaction in your body that you have almost certainly never stopped to think about. Here is where the story stops being about your dog and starts being about you. When your dog makes eye contact with you, what do you actually do? Most people have never consciously examined this. Some owners melt. I have seen it, and honestly, I have felt it myself. There is a warmth, a softness, a pull. They lean in. They say something in a voice they would never use at work. Others feel oddly uncomfortable. They look away quickly, redirect, reach for their phone, call the dog's name, and walk into another room. And some do something in between. They acknowledge it briefly, then get back to whatever they were doing. When I dug into what those three responses actually mean, I found that they map almost exactly onto the three primary adult attachment styles: anxious, avoidant, and secure. A 2015 paper by researcher Michał Pringowski, published in Society and Animals, argued that the way humans relate to and respond to their dogs reflects their broader relational psychology, the same patterns they carry into friendships, partnerships, and families. Your dog's gaze is not just biochemical, it is diagnostic, not of the dog, of you. Number 1. The oxytocin loop is real. It is measurable, and it runs in both directions. When I dug into the hormonal response to dog-human mutual gaze, most notably the work coming out of Azabu University in Japan, I found that when owners and their dogs engaged in prolonged eye contact, both the human and the dog showed significant increases in urinary oxytocin. Oxytocin is the hormone most associated with trust, bonding, and caregiving. It is the same neurochemical that surges between a mother and her newborn infant during eye contact and nursing. The fact that it rises in both species simultaneously during a simple moment of looking at each other is, scientifically speaking, extraordinary. No other human-animal pairing has produced this finding. Not humans and horses, not humans and wolves, only dogs. What does this mean for you? It means every time your dog looks at you and you hold that gaze, your brain is not just registering affection. It is being chemically reset toward connection. Your stress hormones drop. Your social threshold lowers. You become briefly more open. The dog started the loop. Number 2. Not everyone can hold that gaze. And the people who cannot, who glance away, who redirect, who feel something they cannot name when their dog locks eyes with them, they are not being cold. They are being consistent. Consistent with a pattern that likely started long before the dog ever entered the picture. When I dug into avoidant attachment, the tendency to experience intimacy as destabilizing, to mistake emotional closeness for emotional threat. I found that it shows up in the dog relationship in a very specific way. These owners tend to be highly competent with their dogs. They train well. They provide excellent care. What they resist is the unstructured moment, the gaze that asks for nothing except presence. Because presence, undefended, unoccupied, simply being looked at, is precisely what avoidantly attached people find most difficult. What I kept coming back to is this: your dog's eye contact is not asking for a command. It is asking for attunement. And for some people, that is the hardest thing in the world to give. It is worth noting, none of that makes you a bad owner. Dogs are remarkably skilled at working within whatever emotional availability their person brings. But the dog knows. They always adjust to what they find. And what they find tells you something honest about yourself. If that just made you see your relationship with your pet in a completely different way, hit subscribe. We explore the science of the human-pet bond every week and what it reveals about us. All right, let us keep going. Number 3. The science of attachment theory. First developed by John Bowlby in the 1950s and 60s and extended for decades since, describes how early relational experiences with caregivers shape the templates we use for all later closeness. When I dug into this research, I found something that fundamentally changed how I think about my relationship with my dog. When you feel safe, you move toward connection. When closeness has been associated with pain or unpredictability, your nervous system learns to manage distance instead. What I discovered is that dogs, through their extraordinary sensitivity to human emotional cues, essentially inherit whichever attachment template their owner carries. Studies at 8 Vos Lorand University in Budapest, one of the most productive canine cognition labs in the world, found that dogs display behavior in the strange situation test, a classic attachment protocol originally designed for human infants, that closely mirrors secure and insecure attachment patterns. When I came across these findings, I was struck by just how precise the mirroring is. Dogs with securely attached owners explore more, return to their owner for comfort, and show resilience when the owner temporarily leaves. Dogs with more anxiously or avoidantly attached owners show the corresponding stress patterns. The dog did not arrive with those patterns. They learned them from you, not through training, through the accumulated grammar of everyday moments, including how you respond when they look at you. Number 4. Your dog is not just looking at you when they make eye contact. They are doing something almost no other animal on Earth does. They are reading the left side of your face. When I dug into how humans process faces, I found that we have a strong left gaze bias when looking at other humans. We instinctively scan the right side of someone's face as seen from our own perspective, which is the left side of their face. This is because the right hemisphere of the brain, which controls the left side of the face, is more expressive of genuine emotional states. And here is what stunned me. Dogs have learned this. They apply this left gaze bias specifically to human faces, not to other dogs, not to other animals, only to us. When I came across the research from the University of Lincoln, I found that dogs shift their eyes to the right, which means they are scanning the left side of your face when they look at human expressions, mirroring the same strategy human brains use to read each other. What your dog is doing when it holds your gaze is not adoration, it is active decoding. They are looking for the truth in your expression, not what you are saying, not what you think you are projecting, what your face is actually doing. And from everything I found, they are very good at finding it. Number 5. There is one more layer here that most dog psychology content never touches. When I dug into what actually happens when you look at your dog and feel something, when the gaze lands and the warmth rises, I found that you are not just releasing oxytocin. You are activating your mirror neuron system. Mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing it. They are the neurological basis of empathy. They are why watching someone cry makes your own throat tighten. They are why seeing your dog frightened makes your own body brace. What I found is that when you hold your dog's gaze, both of you are inside a mirroring loop. Your nervous system is simulating their internal state. Their nervous system is simulating yours. This is why calm owners tend to have calm dogs, and anxious owners tend to have anxious dogs, not as a coincidence, not as a training outcome, but as a direct neurological transmission. Your dog is not imitating your behavior. They are resonating with your nervous system. And here's the part that I think matters most. You can feel this working. The reason you feel calmer after a few minutes with your dog is not placebo. Your mirror system quieted something. Your oxytocin rose. The dog gave you something real and your brain received it. Number 6. Not every gaze becomes a loop. Sometimes the dog looks and the owner does not meet them. Not because they are avoidant, sometimes because they are depleted. When I dug into what happens during grief, burnout, depression, and sustained stress, I found that all of these suppress oxytocin production and flatten the capacity for social responsiveness. What I also found is that when an owner is going through something hard, their dog will often increase gaze-seeking behavior. They will sit closer. They will watch more. They will try again and again to initiate the loop. Dogs are remarkably attuned to disruptions in their person's baseline emotional state. This is why, when I came across accounts of owners reporting that their dog seemed to know before they did that something was wrong, I was not surprised. Not because dogs are psychic, because what I found is that dogs are reading the face, the posture, the rhythm of breath, and the quality of gaze with more precision than most humans manage. If your dog has been more watchful lately, if they have been trying harder to catch your eye, that is worth asking about. Not asking the dog, asking yourself. What has been going on? What has your face been telling them that you have not been saying out loud? Your dog is not worried about you. They are telling you that you are allowed to be. Here is what I have come to understand. Something most dog owners never quite put into words. The gaze your dog offers you is not passive. It is not a background feature of sharing a life with an animal. It is an active biological signal, one that your nervous system is designed, after tens of thousands of years of coevolution, to receive. How you receive it tells me something about how you receive closeness in general. If you lean into it, you are probably someone who finds intimacy more comfortable than threatening. Someone whose nervous system learned early that being seen is safe. If you redirect it, if you reach for your phone, if you feel the faint pull to fill the moment with something else, that is information too. Not a verdict. Information. What I find remarkable is this. The oxytocin loop is available to you at any moment your dog is in the room. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to be in a good mood. You do not have to be emotionally ready. All you have to do is meet the gaze. Hold it for a few seconds. Let the loop run. When I dug into what researchers have uncovered about this bond, I found something that stays with me. Your dog has been practicing this for 15,000 years. They are very patient, and they are not going anywhere. There is a moment, and if you share your life with a dog, you know exactly the one. When I find myself thinking about what is actually happening between two species in that silence, no command, no walk, no treat, just you and your dog inside a moment that is older than language, older than any trick you ever taught them. That moment is not sentimental. It is neurochemical. It is evolutionary. It is the end result of a relationship between two species who chose each other so long ago that neither can quite remember what it was like before. When I dug into the science of this, what I found was striking. Your dog did not look at you because you trained them to. They looked at you because something in them, something shaped over millennia, determined that your face was worth watching. That is not a small thing. That is perhaps the most remarkable interspecies relationship that has ever existed on this planet. And it begins, every single time, with a look. Thank you for investing your time with us today. Now that you know your dog's eye contact is triggering a real oxytocin loop inside your brain that reflects your own attachment patterns, we are curious. When your dog looks up at you, do you hold the gaze or look away? And what do you think that says about you? Let us know in the comments. New episodes drop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so make sure you are subscribed to catch the next one. Until then, decode your dog, decode yourself.